So, in my 20 years of being in Atlanta, I was able to get a real introduction to the culture of house music. And in that, if you know house music, you know that it's all about the music and dancing and just feeling, and being in it. Like, dancing is like a major part of it. And so in Atlanta, my first year in being in Atlanta, I really was able to learn more about the house culture and really see what it was all about. I had only had a brief introduction in Baltimore. I'm from DC, so I got a briefing in Baltimore one time, stumbling on a venue there. And that was my first real introduction to house music. But in my learning, everybody has different styles of house music, or dance music in the different cities. So, but we all know that it pretty much started in Chicago. And of course, these are all things that I learned just along my journey in learning more about house music. But my love grew for house music as I began to go to the club and listen to house music. And I remember my first introduction was really at MJQ. If you're from Atlanta or you've lived in Atlanta, you know all about MJQ. So it's one of the coolest underground clubs that we go to dance at. And I remember back in the day on Saturday nights, that was the night to go and listen to house music. And so we would go, and I really took a liking to house music because in some sort of way, it kind of reminds me of go-go, which is my native music in DC, because it's just that although go-go is live music originally, it's still based around like drum, like percussion and, heavy drum and bass and, rhythm. And so house music kind of reminds me of that, although the sounds are different, just that it reminds me mostly of like African sound and, like how Afrobeat is so popular now. It's all like cousins or relatives, I guess I would say. But what was so appealing to me was that people would just dance. It was all about the get down, the dancing, the feeling. People would lose their minds, like be in a complete trance, and I love that so much. And I just found it so intriguing. People weren't like standing on the wall and being, just pretentious or anything. They were just really into the vibe, and it was all different kinds of people, together, and nobody cared. Like, it was all about the dance, all about the music and the vibe, and the lyrics were all so positive and just a vibe, like it was really an upful vibe all around, And so I got more familiar with a lot of the DJs who would play the house music here in Atlanta, and I began to just really become a fan. I was definitely loving it, and of course I would get my dance on as well, but I really enjoyed looking and being a voyeur and watching people dance, and watching people engage in this culture of house music. And so 20 years later, I'm definitely a part of the house community, and now doing house music, creating house music for people to dance and listen to. I really take it serious with what I write and the grooves that I write over, So Galactic Soul Synergy is definitely a space and will be a staple in the house community and the house culture, and will be a household name. But yeah, it's just wonderful. House music.